You are tuned into a special player spotlight interview on the CS Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the CS Podcast presented by the NUC NFL Draft Bible, bringing you the names that you need to know first. Since 2002, visit NFLDraftBible.com. I'm your guys' host, Chris Shanafelt, and joining the show now for a player spotlight interview is 2016 NFL Draft prospect. He's Garrett Stafford, the offensive lineman out of Tulsa. And Garrett, can you believe that your collegiate career is all over and now here you are getting ready and working for an opportunity at the next level?
Oh, it's very unreal, but it's been a long time coming, and really excited about the whole opportunity. So.
And take us through what you've been doing over the last few months, if you can. I mean, where have you been training at since the season has been over, and what are some of the things that you're doing in these training sessions?
Last few weeks and month, I've been training, getting ready for the NFL draft, like you said. I've been down here in Georgia training with a guy named Chip Smith at his facility, Chip Smith Performance Systems, and just doing a lot of combine prep work as well as position work with a guy named John Stinchcomb. He's been leading our position drills and getting us ready to do our work, do tryouts with different NFL teams and show, that we understand the technique as well as the vernacular used on the next level. The training is it's 5 days a week, and it's been really fun, actually. It's different from what you normally do in college, but it's definitely kind of focused on the NFL, combine style testing, pro day style testing. So it's been a very interesting experience so far.
It's funny because you're getting yourself ready for the next level, but some of these things that you're getting ready for aren't football related at all. They say it's more like you're getting yourself in track shape for the pro days, for the combines. Is this I don't know if odd is the right word to use, but has this whole experience so far, getting ready for the draft, getting ready for your pro day, what exactly has it been like? I mean, around this time of the year, I got to think you're getting ready for spring ball if you're still a student over at Tulsa.
Right. Yeah. And like you said, the training is different. It's not, a lot of it is, working on what we can do as football players, as offensive linemen, and, the lifting and the training is definitely kind of geared towards that. But a lot of it is definitely focused on making an impression on our pro day so just, getting your foot in the door, it's one of those necessary steps that, you need to take some time and not just train for your position and get ready for, like you said, spring ball. So it's been different, but I think it's kind of a nice little change of pace. You get to see a different style of training and prepare for something different. As far as, like you said, there's a little bit of a, that thought in the back of your head, like, for the last 5 years, this time every year has been spring ball, and you're getting ready to, compete with your teammates and see what kind of team you're going to have for the upcoming year. And there's a lot of uncertainty, I guess, right now of, how's pro day going to go? What team am I going to get to go, make a tryout at, or what team am I going to sign with? And so it's definitely very different than it has been for the last several years.
Yeah, I mean, instead of focusing on your team around this time of the year, you're kind of just focused on yourself and what's next for you as you gear up for the next level. Now, Garrett, I want to take you back to when you're coming out of Memorial High School, which is in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Why did you decide to stay in town and take your talents to the University of Tulsa?
Well, there was several big factors there. The first one, I went to a camp there at Tulsa, or a one-day camp, and they were actually my first offer. So, that kind of meant a lot to me that, they were one of the first teams that said, you're a guy that can play at this level. The second was family had always been a big deal to me. and being able to be somewhere that my family could come watch me play was a huge deal, and like you said, I was living in Tulsa already, so having that capability for my family to come to the games was nice. And then the academics were a huge factor. I actually, while I was at Tulsa, got my undergraduate in electrical engineering, and I'm actually finishing up my master's in electrical engineering. And so finding a school with a good engineering program was a big factor. And then kind of back to the athletic side, Tulsa was kind of a rising star when I was junior, senior in high school. They had some good seasons, knocked off, I think, Notre Dame my senior year. And so I wanted to be a part of that team that, the coach that was there recruiting me at the time, made a good sell on, being a part of this team that was coming up and doing great things.
And you know what? Not many people can say that they got their first start at the college level in a conference championship, Garrett, but you can. As a redshirt freshman, you got your first start on that offensive line in the Conference USA championship game against UCF, in which you guys walked away with the 33-27 victory in overtime just to make things better. I have to think that that's a game that ranks very highly on the list of most memorable games that you've played in as a Golden Hurricane.
Oh yeah, for sure. That whole year, I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to, to get playing time through several of the games. And then, the week before, one of our seniors, Brian DeShane, went down with an injury, and kind of a strange little tidbit. I'd actually been just kind of like a filler-in guy, but the one position I hadn't really played all year was right tackle, and Brian was the right tackle, the starting right tackle. So when he went down, my offensive line coach looked at me and said, "Stafford, you're going in at right tackle." And so after, not having played it all season, I got to play part of the week against SMU. It was the last game before the conference championship. I got to play about half the game there. And then, like you said, that conference championship, that'll be a very memorable game in my mind. Taking it all the way to overtime and getting my first start there was huge.
All right, so you start the conference championship game at right tackle. The next 2 years, you're the full-time starter at left tackle. You started all 12 games each of those next 2 seasons. And then this past season, as a senior, you move inside to play the guard position. Talk about your versatility on the offensive line. Not only are you able to play the tackle positions, but you're also able to play inside, which I have to think is a huge help to your team, to the fellow offensive linemen, and of course your offensive line coaches. Talk about your versatility if you can, and how exactly tough is it to play on the outside compared to the inside, to play in the inside compared to the outside?
So when I first got to Tulsa, I made my mind up that I wanted to play as soon as I could, regardless of what position I was going to play. There's a lot of guys that come in and say, I'm going to play this position, and they think they can specialize. And my entire mindset was, get me on the field. I'll learn all 5 positions, whatever I have to do. And so for my first year, 2 years, I was kind of bouncing between guard and tackle. And as far as learning the responsibilities of those, I think the intelligence part, like, I pick things up pretty quick, schematically. And so at least knowing my assignment, there was never really any issue of just bouncing around. But there was definitely some minor details that, you have to work out. When you go from playing guard to playing tackle, your sets are different. At guard, you need to set more on the line and, be more aggressive, as compared to tackle. A lot of times you're kicking back to play against a guy that's a lot faster and not quite as big. So I think there's some subtle differences that, may go unnoticed to an untrained eye, but that were definitely, they took a little bit of time getting used to. And I think the big one was a year ago in the spring when I switched from left tackle to left guard, having to learn to set the depth of the pocket right then and there, but which actually ended up being a lot more fun. You know, you get to be more aggressive in things you do and be more physical with guys that are generally bigger inside. But yeah, I mean, in the spring, I actually told my offensive line coach we were having a little bit of trouble finding a solid 5 starting offensive linemen. We were having a little bit of trouble with the guard spots. And so I went and talked to him after practice one day and said, hey, you know, if you ever need me to change and play another position, you know, I know there's a lot of guys that think they're specialized at one position, but I'll play anything you need me to. You know, I've been the left tackle for the last 2 years, but you want me to play guard, I'll play guard. Or if you want me to play center, I'll play, you know, whatever you need me to do to make this unit the best that it can be. And so he played around with it and he switched guys around. He sent our left guard at the time over to right guard and moved me down to left guard. And it worked out really well. And so we went with that lineup for the rest of the year.
And I got to ask, moving forward, I mean, do you have that same mindset? I mean, is there a specific position you would like to you would like to play and kind of solidify yourself as you move on to the professional level, or does it not matter to you? I mean, wherever you can play, wherever you can help the team out on that offensive line.
No, I think my mindset's very much the same as going into college. You know, it's where can I help the team that I get, you know, whatever team I get picked up by, you know, where can I help them the fastest and the most effectively. You know, if they need me to play guard, I'll play guard, and if they need me to snap, I've been here, I've been working some reps at center and trying to get snaps in every day. And, you know, if they need me to play tackle, I'm obviously, you know, ready to do that. You know, and I think one of the big deals I was talking with my agent and with one of the John Stinchcomb, the guy here working with the O-line, and you know, they only carry 8 offensive linemen on NFL the final 53-man roster, and so if you're not one of those first 5 starting, you know, in a year, then you need to be versatile. So. You know, like I said, whatever position I can play to help the team out the most and get on the field the fastest is what I'm ready to play.
He is the 2016 NFL Draft prospect, Garrett Stafford, the offensive lineman out of Tulsa, joining me here on the CS podcast presented by the NUC NFL Draft Bible, bringing you the names that you need to know first since 2002. Visit NFLDraftBible.com. And Garrett, I got to ask you, one of the questions I really love to ask in these prospect interviews, and that is, who would you say is the best player that you've lined up against on your team? Lined up with and then against from opposing teams?
The best player I've lined up against on my team or just on another team? I'm sorry.
Both.
So I think that I've definitely been blessed the entire time I've been at TU. I don't think I've ever had a weak player lined up beside me. And I think that the 2 guys that I was lined up beside this past year, Chandler Miller at center and Evan Plagg at tackle, I think they're going to be phenomenal football players in years to come. You know, they were freshmen and a sophomore this past year. But I would definitely say that my first year I got to play, when I was playing both right tackle and left tackle, I was lined up next to Stetson Burnett and Jake Alexander, and both of them were phenomenal football players. They understood the game, and they were both physically dominant football players. As far as the best players I've played against, I think there's talented guys, and then there's guys that in my mind, were a lot harder to play against. And that there's the one that sticks out the most, I would have to say, is he played defensive end for FAU the past 2 years, and he just had a motor. And he, you know, if you shut down his first move, he had a second move, and you shut down his second move, he had a third move. And you know, he wasn't the most physically gifted guy, but he was a ball player. He could play football, and so either him or Temple a year ago when we played him, I can't remember his name. He played D tackle. It's a single-digit number, 8 or 9. But I think he's actually trying out for the NFL this year as well. But he was a very tough one to block.
All right, sounds good. And yeah, that Temple defensive tackle, I can't think of his name either, but I want to say he was actually just down in the Senior Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. I know Temple had a few players represented down in the Senior Bowl, and I want to say that defensive tackle was one of those players that were down there. Now, obviously, Garrett, the versatility really stands out. We already talked about that. 6'5", 300 pounds, that really stands out as well. But besides that, what would you say is your biggest strength as an offensive lineman? And what is something that you feel that you can still work on to get better at?
So I think that one of my biggest strengths is how quickly I can learn and adapt to like a system, and then I can see the keys from the defense. It's been one of the things that I think has helped me to not only play as a freshman, but to play as well as I did through my career, is being able to, our coach talks about, subtle things that the defense will do to give things away, or, even tilt to the safeties at one point we were reading, and being able to do that and play more intelligently has been a huge help to me. And then for something that I can work on, right now we're working here with doing drills, offensive line drills, and we're talking about creating more power through technique and not just relying on overall strength, which has been already has helped. I can feel the difference of being in a position at all times. And so just continuing to improve that, I think, will help drastically.
And switching gears here now really quickly, Garrett, I really do appreciate you taking some time this evening. I'll let you go in just a few more minutes. I know that you signed with Dave Schumann and Inspired Athletes. Can you talk about that decision that you made and what it was about Dave and I Athletes that kind of separated themselves from the other agents that were reaching out to you?
Yeah. So, I've known Dave actually since my sophomore year of high school. He was putting on combines for high school athletes, high school football players, and through NUC. And I think I got a offensive line MVP at the combine my sophomore year of high school. And then he actually put on an all-star game my senior year. It was like the NUC All-World game, and it was over in South Carolina. And I got to be a part of that one. And that was it was an awesome experience for me. And, so our I think if you can call it that at that point, our relationship has been there for a long time. And, I sat down and talked with several different agents, and, Dave just kind of puts off that aura that he's going to do everything he can to go to bat for you. He's going to fight for you and get you every opportunity that he can, and get you every opportunity that you deserve. And I just think that him and his entire group at Inspired Athletics are just hard-working, kind of, hard hat and lunch pail kind of guys, and that's kind of been my mentality. So I just felt like a great fit.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, I had no idea that you and Dave go way back to your high school days, like you said, in those NUC camps. So that's definitely great to hear. Now, again, this is Garrett Stafford, the offensive lineman out of Tulsa, 2016 NFL Draft prospect, joining me here on the CS Podcast, presented by the NUC NFL Draft Bible. And Garrett, we're going to end this interview with something that I like to call the 2-minute drill. Some of these questions will be football related, and some will just be random questions about just about anything. You ready to knock some of these out?
Yep. I hope they're not trivia, but
no, you're good. You're good on that. I'll actually start off with something pretty easy. What is your favorite TV show and movie?
I just now got done watching, gonna be kind of nerdy, Dragon Ball Z is my favorite TV show. So, I grew up watching it as a kid. My favorite movie, that's a tough one. Step Brothers.
Okay. You know what? That's on the top of my list as well. So Dragon Ball Z and Step Brothers sounds good. Who would you say you model your game after? I mean, we hear comparisons drawn, all the time to with quarterbacks, receivers, all those guys, but we don't really hear comparisons when it comes to offensive linemen. Who would you say you model your game after? Who are a few players that you like to pick a few points of their games and try to add it onto yours?
I don't think that I'd narrow that down necessarily to a couple players. We watch so much film through, as a team going through college and, watching film or watching just football on the weekends. I try to watch the entire, as many offensive linemen as I can see and take little bits of every one of them and, incorporate that. If I see something, that I know I've struggled with, or I know that, I'm maybe good at, see how they do it and see how it helps them. Or, if I watch somebody get beat, see, what did they do wrong, or, and then just admire. Sometimes, you can just see when a guy does something really well and, gets a knockdown or gets really good movement or does a really good job on pass pro. Just trying to take little bits from everybody that I see, I think is a big deal.
Okay. All right. Great answer. No doubt about it. Now that we know the two teams that will be playing in Super Bowl 50, I got to get a prediction, Garrett. Broncos or Panthers?
I'm going to predict the Panthers.
You know what? I think that's 7-1 now in these prospect interviews. Panthers over the Broncos. Only one player has picked the Broncos so far. That kind of surprises me. But yeah, I also got the Panthers as well. Hopefully it's a close game. But yeah, I'm also going with Cam Newton and the Panthers over the Broncos as well. Now, final question for you, Garrett. Again, your time is greatly appreciated. Let's say we got all 32 NFL general managers lined up and listening to this very interview. Why should they want the offensive lineman, the versatile offensive lineman out of Tulsa, Garrett Stafford, a part of their team?
Because, like you said, I'm a very versatile football player. I'm a student of the game. I continue to watch film and learn, and continue to get in my playbook and read and make sure that I understand not just my role, but the roles of the guys around me and the scheme of plays and of the team. And, just dedicated to whatever I set my mind to. So, there's no half in, half out thing. It's an all in. You're going to get everything I got every day. And so I think that, I think that just kind of is me, everything I got, hard hat and a lunch pail kind of guy.
And I think, what you're able to do throughout your time at Tulsa, I think that you have proven to be the ultimate team player. So that right there says a lot. And like I said, Garrett, that's my final question for you, man. I really do appreciate you taking some time tonight. And I'm really wishing you all the best as you continue to get set and gear up for the 2016 NFL Draft.
All right. I appreciate it very much. Thank you very much.